Hey guys, it's Teacher Nick here again. I just want to jump on with a couple of the frequently asked questions that I've been getting specifically about the paper one, questions 1A and 1B. So I'm going to try and make this as short as possible. Let's see if we can jump on and get going. Okay, so these are some of the questions that you guys have asked, and I'm going to see if I can answer them. So what would work better? Read the text first, then reread and annotate, or read and annotate together? Okay, guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. Okay. When you first get into your exam, the very best thing to do to kind of get your mind settled and get yourself, don't even think about anything else, okay, is just read the text without basically worrying about all the things that are inside there. Just get used to it. Let it wash over you, okay? Read the question, okay? Make sure you understand the question really well. Reread the text and then annotate. So at least read the text twice. Make sure that before you read the text that you understand what the question is asking, and that's why I say do the question next. Okay, and then after the question, you want to then reread, and then the third time you go through the text is annotate. Okay, the first time you read it just to get your head into it. The second time you read it is to absorb it. The third time you're going to annotate it. Okay. The next question, what is the best way to remain within the word limit? Maybe to cut out what is irrelevant. Okay. And whether it be question 1A or 1B, guys, planning, that is the best way to do it. And I'm going to do a video very specifically to help you with how to do that planning. Okay. Would you write about tone separately or use it to back up other points such as purpose or audience? Okay, so tone is really, really important because tone is the attitude of the writer. Okay, tone is the attitude of the writer. So it depends is probably the best answer here. Your text will have an overall tone. Whether you're reading it or whether you're writing it, it's going to have an overall tone. Tone is important, okay? That tone will form part of your context, audience, and purpose. However, tone, okay, is decided by the purpose or by the audience of the text. So keep that in mind, okay? But yeah, if the tone in the text is very specific, talk about it separately. However, if it has a big impact on the text, you can talk about how the purpose of the audience influences that tone. Okay, that is very much your choice. Okay, can I first annotate the given text and then write my text, trying to do the opposite, comparing them easier, making them easier? So I think what we're talking about here, again, has got to do with planning, okay? Yes, you analyze and annotate the given text, okay? But then you must know what you are going to be writing in 1B. Yes, you have to think about 1B first. You must think about 1B first. Because if you don't know what your comparative analysis is going to be, you're then just going to be writing a piece of text and then hoping that it fits together. Okay, again, the next video that I'll be doing hopefully today would basically cover some of that. Okay, more questions. I'm not sure how to go about you are asked to copy the author's language and style in the You Asked For It video. We never use kinda. We always only did using the material of the text to create a new text. Okay, so this here is, I think, very specifically speaking about teacher Adna's videos about creating the language and the style. It is a possibility. It can come up in the text. Okay. So then you've got to basically think about the tone and the mood of the original text. Okay, so for example, if the original text is very informal, you're going to be informal. Okay, if it has lots of structural devices that basically slow the text down, increase the pace, you just want to basically match the tone and the mood of the text. So it's not using the exact same language. Okay, but it's the formality of the text, I think, that is really important here. But again, check out teacher Adna's videos. Her videos are absolutely awesome. Okay, and she gives you some great examples. You can also download stuff, the paper, and actually have a practice with it. The required number of topics to talk about. Like do we form, like we do, oh, okay, so like we do form. So I think, I mean, we take out the like, I think it's we do form, but structure and language wise, we should have to talk about 3 or 4 of each, or just whichever has more effect. Okay, so this is basically in terms of how you're going to basically discuss these things. So under form, you've got context, audience, purpose, language, key conventions. That'll be basically the one focus. Okay. Under structural devices, 2 or 3 structural devices, more than enough, and then the rest focus on language. Okay. You've got about 400 words, so think about how you're going to split that up. Probably about, but again, in the video that I'm going to show you, that I'm going to make in that, it'll show you the different structures of how to place that. But in simple form, to answer this question, form, probably that'll be like your introduction, structural devices, 2 or 3 language devices, fill your boots. Okay. Why is comparative analysis much longer than the directed writing? Brilliant question. Okay, so remember that this is a reading paper, okay? And as such, we want to know, do you understand the text? That is what analysis is basically, well, the understanding of the text. So in comparative analysis, okay, in 1A, we want to know, are you able to absorb and understand the text and understand the ideas behind the text? 1B, however, is to show that you understand what you did in your 1A, what the original writer did in their text, and then compare the form, structure, and language of both texts. How they have done things that are similar, how they have done things that are different. Okay. How little time should I spend planning for my directed writing? Okay, again, for paper 1, question 1, 1A, 1B, planning is going to take you about 15 minutes. Okay, so you've got, let's say, about 5 minutes for your reading, your annotation, and then you've got your planning of what you're going to be writing in 1B, and you've got your planning of what you're going to be writing in 1A. Okay, so the planning should take about 15 minutes. Now, this exam paper is 2 hours, 15 minutes. So now you still have the 60 minutes to write your 1A, okay, and B. So if you spend about, probably, let's say, about 20 minutes writing 1A, and then you still got 40 minutes to write your 1B. So in terms of time to spend planning, I would say about 15 minutes, give or take. Round about there. 10 minutes, round about there. You've got time to write. Okay, 10 to 15 minutes, let's say. Okay, let's see. Whoa, okay, some more questions. How much information from the original text we have to include and embed in our question 1A in order to show the examiner that we have read and understood the text. Because with such a short word count, every word is precious. Very, very good. You're absolutely right. And often there are other instructions for the question that need to be carried out on top of that. Good question. So I would say you need to include about 70–80% of the information from the original text, not cut and pasted, in your own words. You're showing the examiner, I understand the original text. Question 1A is only worth 10 marks. 5 marks are to show that you understand the original text. The other 5 marks are writing. Okay, so that's where the 10 marks come from, the writing and the reading, and that is important. Okay. For question 1B, are we allowed to comment on devices and key conventions that we might end up commenting again for a different text in question 2? Okay, for example, say we get asked to write a letter and then we have to do our analysis on a piece of text that is also a letter. Okay, you won't really find that in the exams, but if it ever happened or has some of the same key conventions of a letter, very good. Or for example, both texts end up having similar structural devices. Do we try to find different devices to comment on, or is it okay if some overlap? Absolutely, they can overlap. Question 1 is viewed very separately or very differently from question 2. Okay, so if there are, which is rare, but if there are similar key conventions or structural devices or language devices, you look at each text completely separately, and if there are similarities between the two, so be it. Okay, point, quote, explain. So say we're asked to write a text type that typically has a title. Would it be better to leave out a title completely or add a long, sloppy, messy title that clearly wasn't thought out and added just because we remembered it at the last minute? And if we haven't got any space left on the top for a title by mistake, is it better to leave it out? No. Okay. Very, very simply, if the text type, as part of the key conventions, if titles are important, you must include a title. If you have to, you write it at the bottom and draw an arrow, but normally there's going to be space on the top of the exam paper for you to actually add that in. Even if it is a sloppy, messy title, which it won't be because you guys will be awesome, okay? But even if it is, you must have that title. There's no way around that. For question 1A, would it be better to include a conclusion at the end of the text on a nice, neat note and go over the word count, or stop midway through because you've accidentally run out of time and words? Okay, question 1A, you've got between 150 and 200 words. It's very short. You've got to make sure that there are a lot of effects that are created. But remember, you planned what effects you are going to create. Because you know, going into 1B, these are the defects that I identified in the original text that I'm going to create in this text. Okay? So you've already planned for it. So again, everything comes down to planning. Planning, 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 planning. Okay, so if your text is asked to have a conclusion, if because of text type, you will include a conclusion. Okay. Time management is something that takes practice. Practice planning, practice writing, practice comparative analysis. That is the way that you will ensure that you make sure that you stay within the word count, that you do not run out of time, and that you do not run out of words. Okay, fabulous. Okay, so that is it. So guys, if you got any more questions, especially in the other videos, drop your questions. If you got any questions of these questions, drop them below. Follow teacher Adna on Engilearn. She's making some great new videos. Okay, please guys, like and subscribe so I know you guys are busy watching. Ask questions so that I know that you have questions. And rock out, guys. Keep going.